Hello and welcome back to another episode of Prehistoric Speculation, where yesterday a feature focus was dropped on the Frontier forums talking about the challenge mode and sandbox mode for Jurassic World Evolution 2. This was a nice change because we've seen a lot of feature focuses about gameplay, but not much about the game modes themselves and how they would alter how you would play. So that was really cool to see, and yeah, so let's get into it. First, the feature focus talks about challenge mode, so we're going to start off with that. Then we'll move on to sandbox mode afterwards. So, I'm going to read it out to you. All missions in challenge mode will offer 4 difficulty levels: easy, medium, hard, and Jurassic, with their own par times, which will be unlocked by progression. So you'll need to unlock a certain number of stars on any given difficulty before you can proceed to the next level. This means if you're doing, say, the challenge mode on Isla Nublar, you can't just go straight for Jurassic difficulty as you would in the first game. You would have to do easy, then medium, then hard, then Jurassic, and get 5-star in each one in order. This has some interesting implications for what comes later, which I do want to talk about when we get to that part. I've seen mixed reactions from this. Some people are quite happy. I'm quite happy with it, especially given what we know later. And some people are a bit iffy about it because they want to just jump straight in for Jurassic mode and get it done and over with and get all of the skins. But yeah, so anyway, let's move on from that. We'll also introduce a new feature in challenge mode: conditions. These will place constraints on your game to make each playthrough slightly more challenging and will differ depending on which difficulty you're playing. For instance, if you're playing an easy level on challenge mode, you may be limited to 25 species in your park. Whereas if you're playing a medium level, you may have a limit of 15 species. This, again, has seen some mixed messages, because some people like to play it as sort of their own sandbox mode, but in park form, sort of, where you're building a park from the ground up, and it's the only real way to do that. These constraints might be a bit of a hold on that, though, if you're only limited to, say, 25 species in your park or something like that. That might be a bit far with the species thing, but I can definitely see constraints that would be quite interesting to play around, such as we saw like the Hammond Foundation tree in the first game. Other things of that vein could be quite interesting to see. So, next paragraph says, each level has a bespoke challenge with different tasks you'll need to complete. The conditions, maps, and what you have available to achieve is different for each level. And it's up to you to decide how to achieve a 5-star rating. This tells us that you do still need to get a 5-star rating to complete a challenge mode, but it also tells us that the challenges and the conditions will be different on each thing. So it won't be just every single level has the same condition of, say, species, maybe. They'll have different things, so some will have money constraints, some will have species constraints, some will have expeditions constraints and higher staff prices and all of that jazz. So, yeah. Next paragraph is, these challenge mode missions will have both a global location and context that will make them really fun to play. They're not tied into the game's main narrative, so each can be played in isolation. Plus, you'll earn unique species cosmetic unlocks for earning 5 stars across all the different difficulties. So there's lots of reasons to take up the challenge. This is really exciting. To me, I see this as, especially knowing that you can't progress onto Jurassic mode without doing easy mode first, it sort of makes me think that each challenge mode will be its own sort of mini campaign, with you starting on easy mode with the start of the story and finishing on Jurassic mode on the hardest level, having finished the story and whatever mission you were there to do. It also shows that we'll be able to move around the world a bit, whereas most of the main narrative will be set in North America. This can be all over the globe: Asia, Africa, Europe, everywhere pretty much. We also know that we're going to get cosmetics from this still. That's quite cool. It won't mean as much as in the first game, so hopefully there's a lot more of them. Because we'll have, say, instead of 6 cosmetics per creature, we'll have hopefully like 20 plus. And all of them can be combined as well. Then we're going to move on to sandbox mode. I am not going to read this out, because it works very similar to the sandbox mode from the first game. However, they do talk about how, if you think back to JPOG, you had Sanctuary mode where you could create your own wild park. They talk about how this is now again possible using the territory system and setting up a park in a economical way so that you can have multiple creatures in one large map and they won't fight with each other. You will still need a fence around this, so you know your guests don't die. But it's really cool that we can do that again. I've seen loads of excitement for that, and yeah, overall this species fill guide is a bit less heavy on the information. However, it is still just a really exciting species fill guide that again adds more layers of depth to the game, especially with the conditions and the little, hopefully, mini campaigns in the challenge mode, as well as the sanctuary mode and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that is it. So, thank you for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed. Sorry it's been a while since the last video. I've been busy for the last couple of days. Yeah, hopefully that shouldn't happen, not happen again, but not happen too often, hopefully. So, yeah, anyway, hope you've enjoyed this little quick recap, and I will see you in the next video.